Hey, my friends, we will be right back to the show. But I have a question for you. Are you struggling with the impact of childhood trauma? Well, know that you're not alone. I'm here to let you know that I'm starting a brand new weekly coaching group that includes a year of life coaching, accountability, support, habit and goal setting, and more. I'm starting a waitlist for the group right now, and I'm only taking a handful of people. And I'll let you know that through this personalized coaching, we'll work together to help you understand how your childhood trauma has shaped your beliefs, behaviors, emotions, and will help you create a roadmap for healing and growth. Right now, you can schedule an absolutely free coaching session with me and get put on the wait list if you go to thinkunbroken.com. My friends, it's your time to turn your trauma into triumph, breakdowns into breakthroughs, and become the hero of your own story. And I'm here to support you in doing that. Just go to thinkunbroken.com to register for a free coaching call with me and to get put on the wait list for the brand new weekly coaching program. We'll be right back to the show. But before we do, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, factormeals.com, where if you go to factormeals.com/unbroken50 and use the code unbroken50, you can get 50% off your first order. That's factormeals.com/unbroken50. If you're like me and you are a person who is busy trying to create a life, heal, work on their health, wealth, and relationships, and not to mention deal with the day-to-days of normal life, you do not have time to be going to the grocery store and trying to figure out what you're going to cook every single day of the week. In fact, one time I did the math and I realized I was spending over 15 hours a week at the grocery store and cooking. When I added Factor, I got to use that time for myself, for my family, for my friends, for my community, and for my business. And so if you're in the place where you need some more support in the kitchen, head to factormeals.com/unbroken50 and use the code unbroken50 to get 50% off. Hey, my friends, we will be right back to the show. But I have a question for you. Are you struggling with the impact of childhood trauma? Well, know that you're not alone. I'm here to let you know that I'm starting a brand new weekly coaching group that includes a year of life coaching, accountability, support, habit and goal setting, and more. I'm starting a waitlist for the group right now, and I'm only taking a handful of people. And I'll let you know that through this personalized coaching, we'll work together to help you understand how your childhood trauma has shaped your beliefs, behaviors, emotions, and will help you create a roadmap for healing and growth. Right now, you can schedule an absolutely free coaching session with me and get put on the wait list if you go to thinkunbroken.com. My friends, it's your time to turn your trauma into triumph, breakdowns into breakthroughs, and become the hero of your own story. And I'm here to support you in doing that. Just go to thinkunbroken.com to register for a free coaching call with me and to get put on the wait list for the brand new weekly coaching program. What's up, Unbroken Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Michael Unbroken podcast. My goal and company is to give you the tools to help you understand your past, get out of the vortex, and become the hero of your own story. This podcast is sponsored by thinkunbroken.com, and you can check out my new book, Think Unbroken: Understanding and Overcoming Childhood Trauma. This podcast is not a substitute for mental health care, but instead think of it more as a companion where we're here to support each other and to grow. Each episode of the Michael Unbroken podcast is less than 10 minutes, though sometimes that does not happen. So hang out with me, stay tuned. If you have questions, if you want to have conversations with me, or you have information you want to share, reach out to me directly on social media at Michael Unbroken, or you can email me at michael@thinkunbroken.com. Enjoy this episode, my friend, and until next time, be unbroken. Hey, what's up, Unbroken Nation? I'm coming to you today with a different podcast than I had initially planned on doing, and that is in light of the death of Kobe Bryant. I wanted to talk about this yesterday and record it, and on Sunday when I first found out, but honestly, I needed a little bit of time to kind of process, which seems odd because, like, why? I don't know this guy. I've never met Kobe Bryant. I don't know anything about him other than, the things that I've watched on television and read in the newspapers and the magazines and the documentaries and the books and the podcasts and the movies and the children's books and the children's podcasts and everything that he's been doing for pretty much his entire life. When I was young, living in Indianapolis, watching the Lakers continually destroy the Pacers over and over again, I loathed Kobe Bryant. I could not have liked the guy less because it was just like watching your dad get beat up by your best friend's dad. You know what I mean? Just watching the Lakers come into Indianapolis or the Pacers going out there and just watching Kobe just do what Kobe does and then Shaq doing what they do. And for years and years and years, it was like they were the Achilles heel for the Pacers. And this isn't really a conversation I want to have about basketball, but just when I was a kid, watching that and looking at what he did made me so mad because I was just like, why? Why is it that this dude constantly wins? Why is it that it seems like my team can never get a break? Why is it that at 19 years old, 18 years old, 22 years old, 25 years old, that this dude is crushing everybody? And as a kid, I would just be like, fuck Kobe. Seriously, I would. But he was a name that was synonymous with winning, with getting it done. And as an adult, it's very interesting to me that a few years ago, really actually probably like 5 or 6 years ago, my thoughts on him really started to change as I started to understand this idea of what he was and who he was. And so before I get in that, I just want to take a second here to recognize the fact that not only did the world lose this incredible human being, it lost his daughter and 7 other people, and it's somber right now. The world somehow doesn't feel as special as it felt. I, as an adult, have been a huge fan of Kobe Bryant for a very long time because it made the way that he lived his life made me recognize that if you truly not only believe in yourself, but if you're willing to put in the work, do the hard things, you can have anything that you want. You really can. And whether that's healing or winning or finding love or being happy with who you are or running a marathon or showing up for yourself every day or showing up for your kids or whatever that thing is, you can have that because it's all mindset. And when you play this victim mentality, you can't tap into that. And I didn't recognize it. I used to sit and be jealous. This is real. I used to be like, fuck you, Kobe. Because I was jealous and I didn't recognize actually what it was in the jealousy is this idea that I wasn't living up to my own potential. And he reflected that back to me somehow, maybe vicariously. I never had any dreams or ambitions of going and playing in the NBA. Far from it. In fact, I was a terrible basketball player as a kid. So bad that I tried out for multiple basketball teams and never made the cut, ultimately deciding to wrestle and pursue some combat sports. Because I'm terrible. I'm like really bad at basketball. Which is funny for a guy who's like 6'4". And I would watch him and see what he did and see the way that not only he changed, and I think a lot of this probably has to do with the people who are around him, right? I mean, he had amazing support through the Lakers organization, had an amazing wife, had arguably the best coach of all time in Phil Jackson. And he was this guy who was relentless. And I think that's what it takes to be successful in life. I mean, it's the same way I've gotten to this point with Think Unbroken. Like, I've had to be relentless with myself to grow. I've had to be relentless with myself to get to this place where I wake up in the morning and I feel really good about who I am. and I feel amazing about my potential, and I feel like I can do anything. And that's mentality, right? That's thought, that's process, that's action, that is waking up every day, not negotiating with yourself, that is putting in the hard work, that is putting in the miles and the practice and the reading and the lectures and all of the things to get to that place where one day you wake up like that. And I think about the story that he told growing up overseas and going to basketball camp and being the smallest dude there and not having a vertical and not being able to do anything but touch the backboard, and thinking about what was around the corner. What was so fascinating to me about Kobe Bryant was that he was always thinking about what was ahead and not so much living in the moment, in that he let what was happening be greater than the moment. One of my favorite quotes that he's ever said is like, I don't care if I miss the game-winning shot. I don't care if I make the game-winning shot. That to me is brilliant. He says, you are not that important. And that reminds me of something that Jocko Willink says, where the concept is no one man is greater than the mission. And look, I realize that Kobe is this very polarizing human being, and that there are people who hate him, people who loathe him, people who think that he should be in prison forever. And, you know, I'm only going to say this because I know I've already been contacted by multiple people about the infidelities that he had in his marriage and in his early 20s. I wasn't there. None of us were there. None of us know what happened. I'm not defending him. I don't know. I don't. So I'm not even going to comment on it beyond that. What I do know is that as a kid growing up with no real semblance of a future, to watch him was like watching Superman. And it was like that for a lot of us. There are not a lot of black Supermen in the world. And that's a whole nother political conversation that I probably need to reserve for another day, but it's true. Because when you come from where I come from, and you look at your neighborhood and you look at the people in it, and you really take a step back and you walk into it objectively, you realize that there are not a lot of people who are going to make it out of that situation. And the vast majority of the reason why is their mindset. Most people are not willing to do the viciously brutal hard work to get to this place of growth, of winning, of championships. And here's what's so fascinating to me about Kobe Bryant. Like, this dude is forever gone. Like, it's like a really strange movie. You literally could not make a movie more intense than this. You have this kid who grew up overseas, who was the outcast, who was awful at basketball, but somehow was driven and decided and made a choice that no matter what, he was going to pursue this idea because he loved it more than anything. And I'm sure that's catatonic to relationships and friendships and love and a lot of things that most people want to pursue. But he kept going, and he was drafted out of high school, becoming the youngest person to ever play in an NBA game, winning multiple championships, being put up there, and some tout him as greater than Jordan, and some say he's the best of all time, and that's a whole other conversation and debate. But he kept going. And then the Achilles injury, and then the Black Mamba, and creating this identity to become unbelievably ruthless in his attempts and really everything that he did to be great. He became this alter ego, this caricature of this demonically possessed human being that was willing to put it all on the line to capture that greatness. I remember listening to this podcast that he did, I want to say like 4 years ago. And it was really before he was doing them, and saying that during the Black Mamba phase, before every single game, he listened to the soundtrack theme song for Halloween. if that doesn't put you in a mentality to go and fuck some shit up, like, I don't know what will. Like, that does that make you certifiably crazy? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, the dude punched Shaq in the face. Like, Shaq, who's going to hit Shaq? Nobody. Kobe hit Shaq because he's like, this is who I am. I'm not going to back down. I will never be intimidated. That mentality has somehow felt like it's fallen onto me over the course of the last few years, and recognizing that the way that I've gotten to this place in my life where I'm happy and I'm healthy and mental health is something that I'm not afraid to tackle or talk about is because of that same mentality. When I am pursuing these great things or pushing my body to a new limit or stepping on stage or recording this or writing a book or whatever it is that I'm doing, I have an unrelenting will to get it done. And that's because everything seems so real when you look at somebody like Kobe Bryant. And you can tout him as a hero. And I don't think like he's a hero in a traditional sense, like a police officer or a firefighter or anyone else, but he's a hero like Superman or Batman, where the myth is bigger than the legend, where in 100 years we will still talk about this man. We will still talk about this legacy of basketball and dropping 81 and retiring and dropping 61 on his last game and finishing a game with a torn Achilles. And then here's what I think is so fascinating. He was just warming up. Like that basketball stuff, like he walked away from it. What people don't, I think, necessarily understand about Kobe is he walked away from basketball. He was like, I'm done. Hands up. I'm walking away. I'm retiring. I'm dropping this mic. Mamba out. And he pursued this creative endeavor. Like he was this guy who, when he made up his mind about something, was all about it. And he stepped into creating, and he wrote Dear Basketball and produced that and won an Oscar, and then started the children's series for his kids. And then his daughter, who unfortunately passed away with him on Sunday in the plane or in the helicopter, inspired him to step into basketball again at a different level for her. And that's really beautiful. And one of the reasons I've had such a hard time getting to this place where I wanted to talk about this is, one, it's super new. This is so fresh for the entire world. It seems like everything is different somehow, because it's like this man who, you know, for me, I look at my relationship with him as different than anyone. The only other person where I think on planet Earth I would be this affected by, and probably more so if something like this were to happen, would be Jay-Z. Because he was my idol. Like, this is a dude that when I think about the scope of what you can accomplish in life, like, he's at the upper echelon. And to know that there's no more accomplishments, there's no more games, there's no more documentaries, there's no more Oscars, there's no more watching his daughters play basketball, there's no more hugging his wife goodnight, there's no more inspiring the world, there's no more leading the way. It feels like the world is a little bit more dark and gloomy than it once was. And he was a light, and I get it. Like, some people, like I said, hated the dude, but some people like me, I don't know that I looked up to him. I don't even know if there's a word. Like, I just adapted this mindset laid in these ideas and these foundations that I just watched him live out, about just going for it, about being relentless, about being willing to be the one to step up for themselves. I don't think I know this. I know for certain that there have been moments of my life where I have thought, okay, if I don't do this, who's going to do it? And that's led me into this place that I am now. And a lot of that came from this concept of the Mamba mentality. Like, I'm straight up with that. I love the idea that we have the ability to just flip a switch and become whoever it is that we want to become. I often tell people, like, the Michael that's sitting in front of you right now, recording this, talking to you, the one who wrote these books, the one who speaks around the world, like, I created this fucking guy. I created him because I saw what Kobe had done by creating the Black Mamba, and it made me just go, oh, you can do that? You can just be who you want to be. And I'm not saying that there wasn't a tremendous amount of work and effort to be able to do this, because there was, and there has been, and there will continue to be. And I think about like what's next for me, and knowing that, I don't know, what do you do when Superman dies? Like, where do you go from there when it's like somehow what seems and feels like a fairy tale just disappears into the ether and it becomes lore, and before your very eyes you see the world change? You got to keep going, right? There's no way that any one person should stop you from continuing to move forward. And you should be motivated by their life. And you should, maybe motivation is not the right word. You should be inspired by their life. And this is not exclusive to a basketball player or an athlete or a musician. It could be your sister, your brother, your best friend, your parents, your coworkers. We have to honor each other by really thinking about the memories that we have, by thinking about the good things, and sometimes the bad things too, because none of us are innocent in this game, right? And I've had my own tremendous amount of flaws, and I've had the space to work through them and come out the other side better. And our friends and our family and our relatives and loved ones, they have flaws too. And we can't celebrate people for their great things and not remember the things that they did that weren't so great. That's just the nature of it. But I think generally speaking, the amazing things that people do far outweigh the bad things that they do. And that's one of the most beautiful things about being a human being, is we are allowed to make a decision and infer what it is and how it is that we want someone's past to impact us. And as we continue to go forward, I feel like it's very important to also acknowledge the fact that we have this incredible power within ourselves to do whatever it is that we want. We have this incredible power within us to show up every day, to be the hero of our own story, to be the Superman, right? Because we all have that. That's intrinsic in all of us. And it's just a matter of stepping into it, of tapping into it, of changing that mentality, right? Whether it's the Mamba mentality or the think unbroken mentality or whatever mentality it is that you need to move through life, step into it. Because here's what's really fascinating about life. The inevitability of it is death. It's death. There's nothing you can do. There's no way that you are not going to die. That is the one fact. That is the one thing that we all have in common across genders, species. I guess we're all the same species, but across gender and across race and across everything. It doesn't matter. We're all going to die. And so you look at this guy, Kobe Bryant, this person that so many people have looked up to, and this man that somehow transcended pop culture to be an icon even bigger than I think he imagined. And you have to ask yourself, am I really living? Am I really showing up for myself? Am I really living my life like there's no guarantee for tomorrow? And I think the unfortunate truth is that a lot of us are not. And one day you're going to be gone. And one day, people are going to gather around and they're going to bring their flowers and their balloons and their notes, and they're going to put you in a casket, and they're going to put you underground or sprinkle your ashes in the ocean or whatever it is, and you're going to be gone. And the only thing that's going to be left is what you did with the time while you were here. And you have to ask yourself every single day, every moment of your life, am I living like I'm the hero of my own story? And if you're not, I think it's time for you to reconsider what it is that you're really doing. Because that one day is going to come for all of us. And there's no reset button. There's no overtime. There's no bonus shots. It's going to be over. And so, as I head to the end here, I just want to say thanks for giving me the space to let this out. Kobe was a hero of mine, and I'm devastated for him, his family, everyone, the world even. And I'm going to end this with 24 seconds of silence to remember. Thank you guys for listening. That's all I got today. Until next time, my friends, be unbroken. See you. Hey, my friends, we will be right back to the show. But I have a question for you. Are you struggling with the impact of childhood trauma? Well, know that you're not alone. I'm here to let you know that I'm starting a brand new weekly coaching group that includes a year of live coaching, accountability, support, habit and goal setting, and more. I'm starting a waitlist for the group right now, and I'm only taking a handful of people. And I'll let you know that through this personalized coaching, we'll work together to help you understand how your childhood trauma has shaped your beliefs, behaviors, emotions, and will help you create a roadmap for healing and growth. Right now, you can schedule an absolutely free coaching session with me and get put on the wait list if you go to thinkunbroken.com. My friends, it's your time to turn your trauma into triumph, breakdowns into breakthroughs, and become the hero of your own story. And I'm here to support you in doing that. Just go to thinkunbroken.com to register for a free coaching call with me and to get put on the wait list for the brand new weekly coaching program.